Hello everyone, I'm Lawrence and I'm a support staffer and website coordinator for SCAA. Welcome to our channel to watch another one of our 2020 Advocacy and Empowerment sessions. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our channel to learn more about this disease and about the movement. And don't forget to click the like button to show some love and support. The more subscriptions and likes we get, the more we'll be heard. And please continue to spread more awareness about this disease through your social media. As COVID cases are on the rise again, please remember to wear a mask, practice social distancing, and staying healthy. Today's session features alternative therapies with Jason Gant. We'll be practicing mindfulness listening, explaining the holistic model of health, the addition of alternative therapies to Western medicine, and the benefits of those therapies, and more.
So I'm really happy to see everyone here for our 6th AEP meeting. This is Alternative Therapies with Jason Gant. And we're really happy to have him here today. I personally have been through a training by Jason about mindfulness, and I got so much out of it. So I'm really excited for this to be shared with everybody. Before we get started, we're going to do a short exercise just to bring us all together here in this time and place. So I'm going to lead us in a quick moment to arrive. I'm going to have everybody sit in your chair or wherever you are with your back straight in an alert but relaxed position. I want you to focus on the feeling of your body touching the ground or the couch or the chair where you are. Feel free to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. Picture your lungs like balloons filling up as you inhale and deflating as you let it all out. Let's take 3 deep breaths on our own time. And let that last breath out. I want you to think for a moment about something that you're holding with you. It might be stress from yesterday, something you need to get done this weekend. It might be something you're worried about in the news, family member. And as important as that thing is, I want you to tell yourself that you're here right now to learn and be a part of this community. So just set that intention for yourself, and you can open your eyes back up and be back in the group. So with that, I'm going to kick it off to Jason.
All right. Well, thank you. So alternative medicine. Right now trying to achieve some balance, natural healing, and going over a little bit of mindfulness. So this is for our sickle cell anemia awareness community, our advocacy and empowerment program, as well as advocates and caregivers, friends, and family. So to begin, I actually want to put us in pairs, and I would like you to discuss what are some of your biggest challenges with sickle cell, and what is something that you've learned from having or supporting someone with sickle cell disease that has been helpful or a benefit in your life, or anything else. So I know the second question may seem a little odd. What did I benefit from having sickle cell? We're trying to turn it on its head and think of anything possible that could be a benefit, that could be helpful, that you've realized from living with and having sickle cell disease. Now that because we have it, I'm also a sickle cell trait holder. What possibly can we take from that as intelligence to help us live an easier life tomorrow? So you can discuss any of the three, your biggest challenges, anything that you learned, or anything else. Thinking about your biggest challenges of sickle cell, living with it, supporting someone with it, thinking about what you've learned or uncovered from supporting someone with sickle cell, or anything else that's coming up for you right now as we are about to jump into a discussion around alternative therapies and ways to support those with sickle cell or those that are caring for those with sickle cell. So open, popcorn style, feel free to jump in.
Okay, well, I'm just going to jump right in because I'm sorry, you want to go? You go ahead, Wanda.
Yeah, this is Wanda. For me, I think living with sickle cell for the past 70 years, it's made me more of a person that thinks about prevention when it comes to almost everything I do. It's like, oh, I want to avoid a problem, so I'm going to try to plan ahead for things. So I think that's one of like the biggest things for me. In terms of challenges, I feel I probably have, and a lot of people, because things have changed for me over time. The problems I used to have going to the emergency room where people don't see you and deal with you immediately and treat you with respect, those things don't happen to me anymore that I went. People see me immediately and take care of things, so that's something I'm clearly grateful for.
Great, yeah, thank you, Wanda, for sharing. Nadina?
Yeah, I had to move my connection's unstable, but I was going to say the biggest challenge is being a mother and having a son for 36 years with sickle cell disease. The biggest challenge was never knowing how he was going to feel the next day. Each day is always different, so they could wake up in pain and you know, be in pain for several hours or be in pain just for a few moments or what have you, but the challenge is not knowing whether or not what they're feeling is going to lead to what they call a pain crisis. So it's just always thinking about, okay, is he going to be all right through the night? Is he going to be okay tomorrow? You know, and then my son always never wanted to tell anyone. So that was another challenge, trying to keep it a secret. But then, of course, when he got sick, you know, and I tried to get him to understand that, but that was difficult because, of course, he felt like that would lessen his chances for the opportunities that everybody else would have. So I totally understand. I understood it, but, you know, it's you just caught between a rock and a hard place. And so it's like a catch-22 thing. But to me, I felt like that was his biggest challenge, not knowing how he was going to feel the next day. And just, you know, trying to support him and let him know that I'm going to be there for you all the time. So, you know, yeah, to me, that was the biggest challenge for me. For him, I'm certain the biggest challenge was just being in pain, because you have to be able to manage that mentally. And that takes some time. So he mastered that. And I think for the most part, a lot of people living with sickle cell do, but it takes a long time, you know, because that pain is very intense. So, you know, it takes a real strong, mentality to try to, play it down or just say, okay, I'm not gonna feed into that. I'm gonna move forward and do what I gotta do. Because then when you start thinking that way and you move forward, and then it just catches you by surprise, it could just lay you out. And then, all those thoughts that you had about moving forward become null and void. So yeah, it's a challengeable disease.
I see in the chat that Elon and Gloria are sharing in there. Would either of you want to unmute yourself and speak about your situation, your perspective? Well, I can read aloud what was said in the chat because I think it's really important to hear. Gloria says, a challenge is dealing with the pain, but that dealing with the pain is also a benefit because she has a very high tolerance for pain. And Elon says, same as Gloria. Also, the new challenge of being a mom with sickle cell disease and trying to raise a child as a single parent and in pain most of the time and being medicated to manage that pain. And I saw some agreement there. And then one benefit that Elon pointed out is registering students with disabilities in school and the ADA protections that come with that in the workplace as well.
Wow, great. Thank you. Thank you. That's quite the list. And thank you everyone for sharing and for being here today, because it sounds like there is definitely the need and some challenges going on. So happy to have you here. One with the pain, I hear the chronic pain. We'll definitely be discussing how to manage and to change your relationship to pain and with pain. So that's definitely something we'll be discussing. And then I'm also hearing just wanting more support or needing some support around mental health and mental wellness and just how to get through these different hurdles that you're having to face every day, whether it's your own pain, caring for others, thinking about the well-being of others, and that's not even, thinking about the rest of your personal days that you have to manage in itself. So we'll definitely be talking about ways to manage and ease that mental burden, as well as ways to kind of slow down so that we can change our relationship to pain. Because as we've just heard in the comments, folks are living with sickle cell. This is something that's not going away tomorrow. So this is something that we're going to have to get more comfortable with living with. And that process is going to be through changing your relationship. Are there any other comments that folks want to share? Is there anything helpful or been a benefit that you've seen or realized from living with sickle cell?
I have something to say.
Please.
I can't respond to challenges because I do not have sickle cell disease, but I can respond to helpful and benefits. Right? What I'm talking about is hidden deficiencies. In my job for 35 and a half years, we were burdened with people that had physical disabilities that were not understood or identified by the people that were doing the job. So at that point, there had to be a class on how to identify people with hidden disabilities, right? And sickle cell has brought me back to that in identifying the problems that a person with sickle cell disease has, and people not realizing that it's something that can't be seen, something that you have to understand. So it's brought me back to some of the things that I've learned in my training on the job for so many years. So that's been a benefit to me. It's pointing me to identifying those conditions as I live outside of a work ethic. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's powerful. That's a huge benefit and help. You just identified something that is invisible, but you're able to pick it up from your lived experience, and then allow it to help you help others, like right now in this advocacy space. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So we're going to now move into our first formal practice or first formal exercise of the afternoon. And it's going to really give us a chance to take a break. I heard that folks are in pain. I heard folks are mentally tired. They are thinking about and worrying about their loved ones and themselves. So let's take this opportunity just to let all of that go and just sink into the floor. Feeling that comfort, that support in your feet. And feel free to keep your eyes open if you like. We can go ahead and begin by just looking around the room and just checking out your space, just checking out where you are. Feeling what it feels like to be here all together. We're in our own individual space, yet we're here collectively. We're just bringing our mind and bodies online. Feeling our feet on the floor. Feel free to keep your eyes open if you like. Meditations are often done with our eyes closed, so I invite you to keep your eyes open. Just opening your awareness, seeing what comes in. Let's take an intentional breath here right now. Deep inhale to nice and smooth exhale. Last one. And now bring your mind to your thoughts that are coming across your mind. Not necessarily attaching to them, but just noticing them. And finishing the sentence, today I feel. Today I feel. On your next exhale, energy. I feel this way because my energy is. I feel this way because my energy is. Maybe looking around, taking in the energy of the room. And our last one, A. A for attitude. To be my best, I will focus on this today. To be my best, I will focus on this today. Feeling our feet on the floor. Right is here, left is now. Which means you're stepping and you're feeling into the present moment. Let's just take 3 more intentional breaths. Inhale to exhale, breathing from the soles of your feet all the way up through the crown of your head. Exhaling through your mouth. And then again, a root to rise breath from your soles of your feet through the top of your head, and one last breath for 3. Coming back to the group, we'll have this group debrief. But instead of doing this in pairs, just again, popcorn style, how was this exercise? And what came up for you during this exercise? Were you able to release some of that weight that's on your shoulders into the ground beneath you? Exhale some of that worry out. Because what we're going to do today is just learn how to be with ourselves, learn how to be with the different challenges that are coming up for us. So how was that experience?
Well, breathing is something I do every morning. I wake up a little early. I've been waking up around 6 o'clock for I don't know how many years. I have to move cars at least 3 times a week. So that's part of what my routine is in the morning. I take a deep breath. So it's a relaxing type of thing. So I got a relaxing feeling out of the breathing.
Great, thank you. So I had a little bit about myself in the presentation. We can skip through this. We thank you, Nadina, for the wonderful introduction. There's a little bit of my background. So I will give a little bit of color here. And just starting from, my aha moment, what led me here to be with all you today was really started in 2001. I was in a high school immersion trip in Venezuela, and I ended up getting sick. And when I got sick on the second day, I ended up meeting with a Yanomami shaman. We were 4 hours into the mountains. So that was the only healthcare I could get. So I had either 2 options. I had one, I can say, hey, I want American medicine, get me to a hospital, drive me the 4 hours back. Or I could just be with the Yanomami shaman and accept his blessings and see what comes from his session. And he prayed over me. We lit candles, and he chanted. And I think that was my aha moment into being and doing what I'm doing today. Because as I look back and reflect, I didn't fight that situation. I was in pain. I needed help. I wanted help. And so I wasn't fighting it. And as I look back, I actually ended up needing to have surgery, and I had my spleen removed in Venezuela. I distinctly remember the doctor asking, do you have sickle cell? And I said, no. So I'd never been asked the question, never came up ever in my life. And that also delayed my surgery. Having my spleen get further sick and about to explode, I needed to have an emergency operation. And I learned afterwards that it's due to my having a sickle cell trait and going so far up into the mountains that I wasn't getting enough oxygen. So my sickled blood cells started attacking my spleen, and it was about to burst. So I needed to have it immediately. So I ended up going to Venezuela to learn that I have sickle cell trait, to visit the hospitals, and to come back without a spleen. Within that experience, I must say that the mental ease that I was given from the shaman allowed me to probably survive long enough to get to the hospital, which was 4 hours away. And I can only imagine if I had been fighting or causing more stress within my body, what would have happened a lot sooner than had I, if I didn't do what I had just normally done, which is be with that moment, be with the shaman, regardless of what it was. I knew he was trying to help. And so I think that was really my aha moment. Then moving, going down my health history, having eczema, got it as an adult. So not really sure where or how that came about, maybe sickle cell related. And then have been dealing with chronic low back pain since 2007, being a 3-sport athlete and at UC Berkeley. Played basketball, volleyball, and did high jump on the track and field. And so I would always jump up, twisting my back. And so as I think even about that and my history, as I deliver an alternative therapies workshop, I think to these books right here, which were books that I got during that chronic low back pain. And this was in a workshop that I was involved in at UCSF for chronic low back pain. And so I've been practicing yoga, trying to find ways to heal from these 3 things: the sickle cell trait and not having the spleen, the constant irritation of eczema, chronic low back pain that persists as someone that likes to be outside and do sports. So all of that resulted in me having an interest in mental skills, yoga, qigong, meditation, and my most recent role was a behavioral health consultant. So now today I'm actually a behavioral health educator at Kaiser Permanente, where I've created the first youth mindfulness stress reduction program. And I'm also an athletic and executive coach working with corporate teams and individuals and families. So getting into alternative methods. Healthcare once had a clear set boundaries between alternative medicine and where we are now. I have up here UCSF Osher Center for Integrative Medicine, and I also have Kaiser Permanente. UCSF has the Osher Integrative Medicine, which has many classes on holistic healing and holistic wellness. I'm currently at Kaiser, and we've created this mindfulness, the first mindfulness program for teen and youth. They already offer mindfulness-based stress reduction for adults. So this is becoming a thing. We're seeing that there's no longer this single-minded focus of only on the therapy and forgetting about the patient. It's this holistic, integrative model that's now being focused on and looked to. Here's a stat that says 1/3 of all medical interventions are unnecessary. Again, 1/3 of medical interventions are unnecessary. So why is alternative medicine necessary? Along with medical mistakes, including fatal ones, including the spread of drug-resistant infections, and hospitals becoming just hazardous themselves from these causes. Add in unhealthy nurse and patient relationships, non-existent communication, and then we're looking at a place that we're supposed to go for care as something as like a chaotic system. So more than ever, we need alternative medicine and alternative therapies as an addition and not a substitution. Again, on the last, going back to the last screen, that's only, it's a third are unnecessary. So 2/3 are necessary. And the other third we'd like to complement or add to with alternative therapies. Alternative therapies are really a way to complement what's going on and to add to rather than completely disregard the current progress and plan that the patient was on. So similar to this ladder here on the right, it's supposed to be a support. It's not supposed to be your life device. It's not supposed to allow you to swim in the water. Only it's supposed to be a support. So this support and this in addition to allows us to see and experience more wellness in our lives. So alternative therapy, what is it? It includes yoga, massage, meditation, acupuncture, physical therapy, even advice on diet and exercise these days. Behavioral therapies, including social support groups such as this advocacy and empowerment program, but also just enjoying nature. And what's really big right now is healthy social connections. And really the key phrase for me is not included, or what the definition, I should say, actual definition in the dictionary is any of various systems of healing or treating disease, such as chiropractors, homeopathy, yoga, or even faith healing that is not included in the traditional medical curricula of the US and Britain. So that's what's in the Merriam-Webster of alternative therapies. So again, that's any various systems of treating disease not included in the medical curricula of the US and Britain. So that gives a wide, vast world, whole globe for us to pick from to choose specific alternative therapies that work for our bodies, our situations. So what does that really mean? So for me, the key phrase in this is the American traditional medical curricula. And as we clearly see today, this country will choose economics over health. So your health is on the back burner. And if this definition is only to include medical therapies that are in the US and Britain, then there's a lot being left on off the table. So examples of this, most recent, or examples of these pandemics include the COVID-19, but then also being so reliant on the opioids has put us in another pandemic. And so we're seeing that this reliant and this heavy focus on drug therapy can be dangerous, especially in America where it is capitalism first. So alternative therapies provide doors for us to add to the existing therapies that already work for us. Part of alternative medicine is all about showing up for you, about taking charge, using the tools, knowing your intentions, getting close to your resources, but really trusting your gut on how to live and how your experience is. If you look at the screen right now, what is alternative therapy? We have a plethora of things, even being in nature, having social connections. So that means that it's really dependent on you to put together, this portfolio of therapies that work and that can work well for you. So before I go any further, what does that mean for you so far of what I've shared? what's coming up for you around alternative therapies? What have you already tried possibly? Has anyone seen any of these, heard of any of these alternative therapies?
No, but I use an alternative therapy put together by Nadina. It's called Discomfort Be Gone. Very good for pain.
Discomfort Be Gone.
That's the name of it.
I like it. Well, so what is it? Tell me more. What is Discomfort Be
Oh,
Gone?
you'll have to find out from the SCAA SF CEO. She does this process.
All right, all right. So this is something that we can add to our alternative therapy tool belt or toolkit here.
Yes, it's just essential oils.
Okay, awesome.
Right. That's
Awesome.
what he's talking about. Yeah. And I was going to say, before he chimed in, that, yeah, essential oils needs to be there, but I imagine, you can encompass that in healthy, well, no, maybe, no, yeah, it should be there because they are very helpful. And as you had stated earlier, it's a good supplement to these conventional methods. You don't always have to take a pill, if you could use something topical to help cut down or to relieve some of the pain or some of the discomfort that you feel, then that's always my avenue first. So yeah, it's quite powerful because if you think back in time, essential oils was all they had. And that basically comes from your plants and your trees and all just nature in itself. And they extracted that and they utilized those methods. And you probably got some of that when you were in Venezuela, because I would imagine those people are probably very ingrained in healing from natural sources. So yeah, I would have to say essential oils. And Wanda mentioned acupuncture as well. Oh, that is there. I see that. Yeah. And then she said something else, I think, in the chat.
Osteopath.
I'm sorry?
An osteopath, a doctor of osteopathic medicine. She's a regular MD internist with a specialty as an osteopath. And what they do is use manipulations, manipulating your body, touching your body as a chiropractor would be the closest thing to it that I could say. But her manipulations are more gentle and it helps your body heal itself. I had fractured my hand and I was in a lot of pain, didn't realize that I had fractured it at the time, and went for several weeks just experiencing this pain until it became unbearable. And then I went to see her, but I had made an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon too. And she did some manipulation with my hand while I was in the office with her. And my hand stopped hurting immediately. And that was like, maybe like 6-7 years ago.
Wow.
And so recently, and the pain did not return until recently. And recently I found out that I have arthritis in my hand. My primary care physician just shared that with me. But I was having like once a month an appointment with the osteopath, just as a preventive kind of thing. And I think that has made all the difference in the world. Someone mentioned that they have like a high tolerance for pain, and I do too, because I was able to like go to work, take a Percodan and work like an 8-hour day, and all that did was take the edge off the pain. It didn't, make me incoherent or anything else. But that isn't how I would have wanted to live, dealing with sickle cell pain. So the osteopath and using acupuncture are things that have worked exceptionally well for me. I had severe migraine headaches no medication worked. The only thing that worked for me was having acupuncture.
Mm. Wow. So
But
definitely.
Wanda, you've made a new discovery too, right?
Oh, yes. Well, using like the oils, because I've been using the oil on my hand since I've recently been diagnosed with this arthritis in my right hand of all hands. I'm a right-handed person. And using the essential oils have given me relief, pain relief, for at least like a 12-hour period.
Wow.
So I'm grateful for that.
And
Thanks
thank
to
you
Ms.
so much for letting me know that too, Wanda. Thank you for telling me how long it lasted. Nobody has ever done that. So
Yeah.
that was good information for me. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for sharing. So you guys are steeped in some alternative therapies and using them. That's awesome. That's great.
Oh, yeah. For at least the past 10, I've been seeing the osteopath for at least like a 10-year period.
Okay.
But I just wish my insurance would pay for it, because her fee is like $100. No, used to be 100. It's now, it's $200. My last payment was like $175. But you have a full 45 minutes with her where she's, manipulating your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
And unfortunately, yeah, these therapies aren't covered by insurance, and it actually, makes so much more sense given the Webster Dictionary definition of alternative therapies as to why it wouldn't be if it's anything that's not U.S. or Britain, which was new to me in doing research for this workshop. But people turn to alternatives usually only after surgical and drug treatments have been exhausted or they're too costly. So this sounds like this is a group that's a little more proactive around their health and well-being. So that's awesome. That's great. The alternatives are the therapy of last resort usually. And that's why I have this quote up on the screen. And really that's because there's not much known about them. They are not that embedded part of our healthcare system. They're not defined in the dictionary in common practice. So only in recent years have healthcare institutions created opportunities for new modalities to heal. And so luckily, locally, here in the Bay Area, we have UCSF, we have Kaiser in the West Coast and the Midwest. So we're able to promote health and innovation in our backyard. So despite the numerous pain meds at our disposal, they are mere Band-Aids, ineffective, costly, or have side effects that we have to manage on top of our chronic condition or chronic pain. Our dependence on drugs saw a dramatic 47,000 lives lost due to the opioid crisis in 2017 alone. And so this is really a huge issue, public health issue that we're dealing with here. So all of you that said that you were dealing with some pain, you are not alone. You are not alone. Chronic pain, whether you have sickle cell or any other condition, disease, something that makes you uncomfortable, 50 million Americans have chronic pain. And I was dealing with it in my early 20s, which is why I had to get these low back pain books.
Yeah, and Jason, when you speak of low back pain, man, I suffered from that for so many years. I was in several car accidents. I've got some bulging down there in my lumbar 3 and 4. And I tell you, I had to get away from those meds because I was taking those, just to try to keep that pain under control. And I think that's also what led me. Of course, what led me really to aromatherapy and essential oils was after my son died, and I realized that, you know, there just needs to be there are other methods, and the body can heal itself if you help it. It's all about what you do to assist it. And that's where, you know, all of my training and information came from when I started taking classes in aromatherapy. And I took many hours of that, and I studied all of that. And it just made me realize how important it is to recognize what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
And because you're going to have those ill effects, and that's that other part of all the conventional meds, all the side stuff going on, you know, and then how they're all working together in there, you know, and things might be fighting in there, you know. So I just try to limit, you know, after I went through a series of, you know, taking Vicodins and all of those, you know, painkillers and whatnot, you know, I just had to let that go, because ultimately you can't live that way. You don't really want to live that way, because it's eating you up inside. So you've got to try to find some alternatives to lessen the amount of that conventional stuff that you have to take. So yeah, alternative therapies is like major in my book.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And alternative therapies, to relate it to this, what you see on your screen here, I'm saying the American medical system can sometimes feel like a blind man that's touching an elephant. We have all these different alternative therapies, traditional therapies, but they're not working together. And so like a blind man, you would just feel, you wouldn't know what part of the elephant you're actually touching. And that's kind of what our medical system is like. And if it is like that, then that's even more so why we have to take a hold and autonomy of our health and learn these inner skills and these alternative ways, I want to now put it in quotes, because as I'm hearing from you all, they're actually really effective and should be brought to the forefront. So here's a quote from Francis Collins, the National Institute of Health Director. Research dollars being spent in integrated medicine are not a cost, but an investment in health, human health. And I truly believe that it's an investment, it's not a cost. Key terminology to use, especially in this climate that we're in right now, where it's public health versus economics. Everything seems like a cost, but it's really an investment for our own human health. And, you know, we should be feeling and seeing that more than ever now. And self-healing, you know, as I mentioned, is the basis for all healing. Nadina, you kind of just said it yourself. You know, the body heals itself if you give it the opportunity to. And that's really what alternative methods are. They're curious and kind to understand the needs of the body, asking the question, why is the body not replacing its sick cells with healthy ones? And that solution is being able to manage our resources into wide strategies that we can look at as long, medium, and short term to promote our own well-being. So with an organized strategy, the conditions are created so that we can see the entire elephant as one piece, not as separate pieces. So I'm now going to have you all sit like a majestic mountain like you see. Just getting in a comfortable position that is alert yet relaxed. Close this window. Just starting with a big intentional breath. Full inhale Nice and smooth. Exhale. And again, you can keep your eyes open. You can drop your gaze or close your eyes. To open our awareness to learning new ways of being and healing. Some that we are familiar with, some that we may not be so familiar with. We're going to do an open awareness visualization. Just put our minds in a space to be open to new modes and methods of wellness. Noticing the in-breath, noticing the out-breath. Starting with sounds, bringing awareness to any sounds you hear right now. Bring your attention to 3 things that you can touch or feel. Could be your your heart beating. Could be one shoe is tighter than the other. Two things that you can smell. Can you notice, smell, or feel anything as the breath enters and exits through the nose? One thing that you can taste. Something you can taste on the palate right now. Big inhale. Tapping your feet on the floor. Sitting up straight. Dropping your shoulders. Connecting with your breath for 3 breaths. It's not a race, nowhere to rush to. Being kind and easy with yourself. Nice big inhales. Feel the chest rise. Feel the belly rise. And at the sound of the bell, you can open your eyes, take a breath, and come back to the group. We're now going to have a break.
Yes, we're going to take a 15-minute break, but first we're going to do some quick little exercises, get blood flow into our systems, so we go into our break with an active mind, as everything that Jason was talking about. Also, we're ready to kind of come back and learn some more from this great presentation that Jason has done so far. So first thing I want you guys to do is take a couple inches back on your chair, scoot it back a little bit so we can see your shoulders nice and calm. First thing we're going to do is we're going to roll our shoulders forward in a forward rolling motion. Get that tension out of our shoulders, whatever's been going on. And just sitting in a certain position always adds some tension to us. So just forward shoulder rolls. We're going to go about 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Relax. Now we're going to go backwards for 10 seconds. Reverse the direction of it. Shoulder roll backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Now we're just going to go shrugs. So shrug it all the way up to your earlobes and then relax, shrug it up, relax, shrug it up, relax, shrug it up, relax, shrug it up, relax. We'll go about 10. So right now we're at 5, we're at 6, we're at 7, we're at 8, we're at 9, we're at 10. Good job. Awesome. We're going to take our knuckles, go knuckle to knuckle, and we're going to extend our hands out, then bring them back in, extend them out, then bring them back in, extend them out, bring them back in. We go for 20 seconds on this one, 20 seconds. Just extend out nice and gently. Just extend out and in. So help stretch out your wrists, stretch out your triceps, get a little bit of a chest workout going in there. Work the inside of the shoulder blades as well. Good, we got about 9 seconds left. 5 seconds. And done. Awesome, good job. Next, we're gonna have our elbows up. We're gonna hold this position here. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna lift up off of our chairs and then come back down. So we're just gonna stand up off of our chairs and come back down while we hold that position there. We're gonna do about 10 of these. So right now I'm at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Awesome. Next, we're going to interlock our fingers. We're going to put them above our heads, spread it out as high as you possibly can. And then we're just going to lean forward and then lean back. And as we lean forward, you really want to flex or scrunch your abs. It's a little bit of an ab exercise. Helps your core. Helps get everything nice and stable. We're going to go 20 reps of this guy. So right now we're at 3. Coming all the way down, we're at 4. Coming down 5. Coming down 6. Coming down 7. Coming down 8. Coming down 9. Last one. And 10. Awesome. There you go. So now we got blood flowing through our legs, through our abdomen, our shoulders. That was a quick little 5-minute interjection workout there. Good job, everybody. You guys got 10 minutes. We'll be back at 12:30.
Wow.
Jason, I have a question. Were you going to go back to that last little session we had where the things you can hear, the things you can smell, the things you can taste?
No, do you have a comment on it? Sure.
Oh, no, I just made some notes about what I could hear. The cars out front, the TV in the other room, the smells I was smelling. I do aromatherapy, so I have a diffuser. I'm smelling jasmine. I'm feeling real good about that. And the last thing was what I could taste. Oh, I couldn't taste anything. I don't know. I might have bad breath right now. I mean, I ain't been talking much, so I didn't have any kind of taste that I couldn't associate with.
You just described the taste right there.
Oh, okay, nothing.
That's the perks of being online. No one has to
I
smell
love
your
you,
stinky
man.
breath.
I love you, man.
Remember that curious and you just described it right there. But yeah, thank you for coming back to it and for sharing your what you noticed. I like to do that open awareness exercise because it's 15 things that you pick in your own environment that help you be in the present moment. So I just asking you, saying, pick of this, 2 things that you can smell, 1 that you can taste. But you all self-selected those. So was it difficult for anyone, or how was it for someone, any of those that it was your first time?
A slice of bologna and some potato chips for lunch on the break. So I smelled all 3 of those.
Great.
We were talking about the exercise. It's all good.
Awesome. Any others this is your first time? I'll just go over it one last time, but it's I like to call it 15 things. It's 5 things that you can see. So I started us off by just having our eyes open. I invite you to keep your eyes open for a bit. 4 things that you hear. 3 things that you can touch or feel. So that can be your heart beating. That can be the tension in my shoulder. That can be my clammy hands. That can be my feet on the floor, the texture of your pants, anything that you can touch or feel. 2 things that you can smell. 2 things you can smell. And the last is 1 thing that you can taste. Usually the hardest one, unless you're eating something, a candy bar, a peppermint or something, but you really have to kind of tap in to the moment in order to come up with these 15 things. So it's something you can do in the moment, or it can be a dedicated practice where you just sit. You could sit for 15 minutes and just see what comes to mind. What do you notice?
You mean dear white people? You just want to find out white people. Yeah, dear white people. You took it out of the case and it's not in the case. It might still be in the
Guys, if you can make sure to mute yourselves while Jason's doing the presentation. Sounds like some
I missed the 5. I got 4 here, 3 feel, 2 smell, and 1 taste. What is the 5?
The 5 is see. So 5 things that you can see. So have your eyes open.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So you now see on your screen a quote, and this is from the director of the UCLA Center for Integrative Oncology. And she said, "Medicine alone is not enough." And just as we practice, innovative, healthy, and sustainable ways of being must be considered. So we've talked about that. You guys have shared that you're already doing some of these practices. So we need to keep that up, because currently there's kind of a single-minded focus on treatments, which is putting cancer first. And it's putting us as the patient second. So if that's the case, then we need to, take some more agency and own up to the things that we allow to be healing for us. So we should be aiming toward patient-centered care. COVID is clearly showing us otherwise right now, so we have to protect ourselves. Got to protect ourselves. So mainstream integration. Mounting research is concentrating on the importance of mental well-being. A healthy mental state can play a part not only in the quality of life, but in a person's prognosis. Natural healing includes having healthy social connections and support, advocacy and empowerment, mindfulness. We've done some of that today. meditation, dedicated practice like 15 things, but also regular exercise can reduce depression that's often accompanied with sickle cell. The constant overwhelm, constant worry, the constant chronic pain often lead to depression and this mental health.
Excuse me, somebody should mute their screen.
Yeah, and Jason, I'm no longer the host, so you can mute everyone now. You have that access.
Okay. All right. So, yes, natural healing. We have social support, balance, meditation, physical exercise, getting outside, taking care of your nutrition. And social support is something that's really important because it allows patients to cope with their painful treatment regimens. It enhances autonomy and it helps them improve recovery. We also have mindfulness, being in the present moment, being accessed through the breath. And that's why we keep doing the intentional breaths. We understand that we're breathing, but we would like to do intentional breaths. And so mindfulness is really accessed through the breath. And so we did that through the 15 things exercise. You guys have also brought up acupuncture, aromatherapy. I also have here massage therapy, and these are all ways to achieve balance. Earlier, I showed the quote saying that we need less expensive, less invasive procedures and treatments, and that's really what is happening right now. We're seeing this mainstream integration of all of these different forms of healing and wellness coming together. And it's on us to not feel overwhelmed by it, but to rather take a closer look and to see what makes sense for us. So in 2019, there was a study on breast cancer patients, and over 3,000 patients were in the study, and 1,000 of them, let's see, gotta move this on my way. I can't do the comments. This over 1,000 reported using one or more therapies during this prior year. And so again, we're seeing that 1/3. And according to the study, the most likely to engage in alternative therapies were young white females. So why is this? The persistent symptoms, psychological distress, or increased autonomy over their personal care is what drove people to engage, the 1,000 people to engage in these alternative therapies. And again, these are women that had breast cancer. What we did not know is 1/3 of the patients later said that they did not share they were using alternative therapies. And they did not share because it is not relevant, it's not respected, or asked about by doctors in the traditional healthcare system that we're in. But really, COVID is challenging this norm. Issues with not sharing with your health and medical provider is that you do not want to interfere with their wellness and medical plan or their program. So they're the professional. I won't say anything. This is just my, alternative therapy that I do on the side. But it's critical that I let you all know that you let your healthcare professionals know your therapy so that they don't interfere with whatever is going on and their plan with you and their program. There can be examples where herbal supplements may react with conventional treatment methods if not warned or discussed. You want to discuss these things with your professionals. And so the lesson here is really to speak up. To speak up. No question is dumb. There's no stupid question. And especially when we're discussing our own health. And so that really stuck out for me here, that a third of patients were quiet about even participating in alternative therapies. See a couple comments. Let's see here 1 second.
Yeah, you
Okay.
know, Jason, for the very reason that you said, that's how come I don't speak a lot about aromatherapy. Just kind of keep that to myself. But I do tell my professionals that, you know, I have alternatives that I do utilize, and that if they choose to prescribe something to me, doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm straight up about it, because if there's that side effect paper's got a whole bunch of stuff on it. Oh goodness, that right there makes me not want to take it. So yeah, but I do tell them to some degree.
And I encourage you to speak up even more, because you have the secret power. You have the healing juice. So speak up, let folks know. But like you just said those side effects are so long. And that's why I wanted to bring up acupuncture. There was a 2017 study done on acupuncture where they had 226 breast cancer patients from 11 treatment centers around the US participate. And it was over 6 weeks, and they experienced a 50% reduction in pain. They did a follow-up 12 weeks after the acupuncture treatment had stopped, and they indicated still having those pain relief benefits. And so this is as recent as 20. Here we see the interest is growing globally. We have NATO forces that are going to be following in the American footsteps. Chinese military has already been practicing and using acupuncture for years, decades. And not just their culture, talking about the Chinese military. We have the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic. They offer acupuncture as part of their alternative care packages for patients. And specifically here in California, the Affordable Care Act covers acupuncture, meaning it's on the list of covered services. Here we see, the WHO declared acupuncture a useful adjunct for more than 50 conditions. The Air Force now uses acupuncture. And they use semi-permanent needles and acupoints to disrupt pain signals during war. They also use acupuncture for vets when they return for PTSD. So we see that it's growing globally, the interest in alternative therapies and acupuncture. So here in 2007, there was a study done in Germany with close to 1,200 patients with long histories of low back pain who were studied to understand the link between acupuncture and chronic pain. We're often quick to rush to an ER or to the hospital when that crisis actually happens. But as I mentioned earlier, implementing short-term goals, medium-term, long-term plans that are beneficial to your support for your long-term health goals should be something that we begin thinking about. It shouldn't be that quick fix. We should be thinking about little ways that we can incorporate. And that's why I was saying, that's why I began today with what are some things that you've learned or some things that you've benefited from having this? Because you get to take that with you. Research suggests that these pain receptors in the brain are activated by acupuncture needles. So here are the results. You see that traditional acupuncture had the best results for experiencing significant relief. The sham was where they gave acupuncture. It wasn't an acupuncture needle, but they used just a different type of needle. So the participant felt a poke, but it wasn't the actual acupuncture needle. So that's what the sham is. And then the third group was just physical therapy and exercise. So we didn't have a group that was combined, but imagine if we combine the traditional acupuncture with the physical therapy and exercise.
So what is the, so now those that were in the sham group, what did they get? They didn't get anything, right?
No, yeah, they didn't get anything. It was like a placebo. So I guess they did get something because they felt the poke.
Well, okay. That's what I'm saying. So what is this percentage? Oh, okay. So 44% of the people were given the sham.
No, 44.2% of the people that received the sham experienced significant relief.
Yeah, and that was just a poke. It wasn't, okay. Interesting.
Right, just the sensation of it triggered something in their mind, which is what acupuncture is trying to do.
Apparently, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's that mental part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we have a study in 2011, and this is with the Health Forum study, and they reported that 42% increase in offering of alternative therapies services from 37%, so a 5% increase, and from 2007. And the AEP hormone constricts blood vessels and increases blood pressure, which is a bodily signal of stress and distress, of worry. And so there was a researcher by the name of Tiffany Field, and she's the director of the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami School of Medicine. And she showed that moderate to deep pressure massage can activate the vagus nerve, which helps regulate our heartbeats, which allows us to have good blood flow and regulation. The vagus nerve carries as an extensive range of our signals from digestive system and our organs to the brain, and vice versa, all throughout our body. So I'd like us to actually try this exercise. And this would be what I would call a micro practice for like a massage. And so it's going to be an exercise that's called tapping. It's similar to massage, involving rubbing or pressing, manipulating the soft tissue. Similar, this is what we're going to do for tapping. And it just allows the vagus nerve to release, giving us that good blood flow, and allows us to find that ease and that grace. So here's a picture. Your thymus is right in the middle of your chest. We're only going to focus on this point right here, but there's also the two points right underneath your collarbones, and then right above the spleen. But right now we're going to look at the number 2 thymus point. And so what we're going to do is, for each step or tap right in the at that thymus point, just going to do a light tap. And for each step, breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just a light tap, so we're not hitting ourselves hard. Just a light tap, like we're waking ourselves up, like you're waking up a friend, but waking up grandma. Light tap so you feel it, but not trying to hurt yourself. Just do this for about a minute, just focusing in on your breath. Go ahead and sigh your breath out, releasing your shoulders. We're just tapping, like a baby massage. Feel free to stop if it's uncomfortable. We're merely just trying this out as a possible alternative therapy that we can lean in on at any time, any place. The thymus is a specialized primary lymphoid organ to the immune system. Within the thymus cell lymphocytes, or T cells, mature. And these T cells are critical to the adaptive immune system, because that's where the body adapts specifically to all of the viruses that we have and foreign invaders. Take 5 more deep breaths as you continue to tap. Doing this tapping daily will allow you to boost your immune system, will stimulate all of your energies, as well as increase strength and vitality. Last breath, and we can stop. I almost feel like a vibration right here now. I mean, it feels, there's definitely like a good energy, like a nice ringing that's happening or feels like. How about any of you? What does it feel like after doing just a minute or a minute and a half or so of thymus tapping? Kind of an integrated version of a self-massage.
It felt different for sure. I'm just not exactly sure if I was tapping the exact area. I know the picture is showing a specific area, but maybe like a visual would have been a little bit more. But is it like right there? Because that's where I was tapping, like right at my breastplate, right up there at the top.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I do get that ringing sensation for sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of annoying. I wanted to rub. I rubbed it. I didn't like the tapping. The tapping I got a little irritated with. It was like, you know, having your child want to say something to you and they just constantly tap. So for me, I got a different sensation.
Yeah.
I got a whole other mentality about it. It was just like, I didn't like it. Jason, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just keeping it real with you. It's just, okay.
Nothing to be sorry. You just
I
learned.
like talking to me.
I mean, that's huge, what you just shared, and I thank you so much for sharing that.
Hey,
What
Jason.
you just learned is that you don't like tapping that way, but
Okay.
maybe a rub feels better, and thank you for inviting the group to take part in that with you. I didn't invite that into the group, and maybe a rub is better. So let's all try just a rub for 15 seconds and see if that feels a little better. Kimball, you said it was a little weird too. How does the rub feel? And maybe using your, like the tips of your fingers as the rub, not a tap. So then you still feel your fingers versus the pads of your tips.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I like that one.
Yes, I got a question here about how high up from the bottom or the curvature of your rib cage. Approximately how many inches up?
My tie knot, I'm just right below it.
Right below your
Kind
tie
of right.
knot?
I'm basically right on the sternum, right on the heart, the plate of my chest.
So right about in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd say more than it being that sweet spot right there, like in the picture, it's more about the region. So I'd say it's more this region here, more so than like this particular spot.
Okay. That's a big area. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So we have some room to play with and to figure out if it works for you or if it doesn't. But this is just something else to try, something else that's in the moment. And thank you, Nadina, so much for the adjustment. I like it. So here is a stat about learning massage for giving treatment for partners. And after learning massage techniques in short workshops, partners, those that live together or those that are supporting others with chronic conditions and cancer, were able to give treatments that reduced their partner's pain and nausea by 44%. By 44%. So those are friends, those are partners, spouse, just doing basic massage techniques and integrating small things like the rubbing instead of the tapping. So I invite you all to try that. If you have a partner or friend that doesn't mind supporting you, 44% is pretty huge. And like you were saying, Nadina, kind of hurts, was kind of annoying. But some of them, when you find the right ones, can feel good and you can really need it. And so that's what you see on the right side are some other options for us. And there's the Alexander technique, the Feldenkrais method. We have Rolfing, reflexology, and spinal manipulation. And the Alexander technique really focuses on the link between body posture and movement and physical problems. Feldenkrais method is yoga minus the specific and rigid focus on the positioning. Rolfing is like deep tissue massage. It's when the connective tissue surrounding the muscle thickens and it kind of sticks from inactivity. And that's probably why I had to go see a low back pain. Got these books, keep showing them here. But that's probably what was happening to me. My muscle tissue was thickening and just from inactivity probably after college, not participating in as many sports, not stretching, not staying active, thinking, oh, my playing days are over. And these different issues started to occur. Couldn't get up, couldn't brush my teeth, couldn't get out of the car. So it led me to say, hey, I do not want surgery. So there must be other ways that I can figure out to help myself feel better. And now I do yoga and actually lead some yoga courses.
Jason? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say we have a question from the chat from Gloria. She's asking, do any of these techniques help with pain caused by neurosis?
Pain by neurosis. Yeah, I would have to get back to you.
Oh, sorry, necrosis. She's saying.
Necrosis with a C.
Yes.
I'm not sure what is necrosis.
I think it's a deterioration. A vascular necrosis is something that people living with sickle cell experience, and it's a deterioration in the area of the hip and I don't know, Dr. Keith, he knows more about this than I do. I just, having
Yes.
spoken with several patients, Keith probably could speak on that more than me. Keith, can you say something about AVN or necrosis? Is Keith still with us?
Not sure, but it has something to do with the blood flow where the regions aren't getting enough blood. No, I don't see Dr. Keith on here. He may have dropped off accidentally.
Okay.
But you're right, it is a deterioration of a particular area due to decreased blood flow to that area. So necrosis is kind of similar to, I forget the name of the disease, but it destabilizes the pressure in your system, so your blood flow isn't as good. So it takes you longer to kind of heal. And I think necrosis is like the next step up from that. So the area isn't getting enough blood flow, so it's causing a deterioration of the area. At least in my limited knowledge, that's what it is.
And so when they have what they call AVN, vascular necrosis, that's when, after it gets to a point where it's so bad, they have hip replacements for the most part. Wanda may know something more about a vascular necrosis. Wanda, would you like to speak on that? You're on mute, Wanda. You have to unmute yourself. You can't hear me.
Let me see.
Okay, can I unmute her?
I got it.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, it's a deterioration, like avascular necrosis, a deterioration of like the hip joint where the blood flow just, I was gonna say dry up, but it dies, like the blood vessels in that area die. So I think that's what it is primarily.
Is there pain associated
Painful as
with
all
it?
get out too. Is there what?
So is there pain associated with it?
Oh yes, it's extremely painful.
Yeah.
Walking becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So I would.
People do end up having to have hip joint replacements. It's called like a coring, where they go in and drill holes in the bone to help with circulation. And as a result of having that done, I've never had to have the actual hip joint replacement.
Wow. Yeah. So then to go back to answer that question, then I would say then these wouldn't be the best because some of them, like the rolfing, is deep tissue. So that would probably would hurt, probably extremely hurt.
Right. I've had like the deep tissue massage, and it ends up being a very painful thing. At least like a day or so later, you become very, very uncomfortable. But regular massage is absolutely wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And acupuncture has, like, I had an uncle who needed a hip joint replacement, and he actually went for acupuncture, and that helped to really delay considerably him having to have the hip joint replacement.
Yeah, I was going to say that would probably be a better option given the intensity of the pain that's already there, and then on top of having these specific types of massage because these are a little more deeper. And so for something like necrosis, I wouldn't go to one of these 5, but for more traditional shiatsu or more gentle massages, I would say those type
Right.
more than these right here for that necrosis question. Definitely. So that was a good question. Thank you for bringing that up so that we could get that distinction. Thank you, Wanda, for sharing as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
So moving to natural healing. So we just saw a picture of a woman doing yoga on the beach. How do you guys think yoga is? Or how long has it been around?
Oh, it's probably been around for thousands of years, or at least 1,000.
Yeah, 5,000 actually.
There you go.
5,000. It's a form of movement to enhance flexibility, longevity, and healthy blood flow throughout the body. Yoga literally means union or to connect in Sanskrit. And there's various different forms, but the core elements of yoga will be sustaining a posture called an asana, using the breath intentionally, accepting yourself for wherever you are, and no multitasking or limited to no multitasking. Trying to focus in on that breath, focus in on the posture. And if you do that, you should receive the benefits of muscle challenge and growth, activating healthy processes for rest and digestive response, but then also really deactivating stress. And again, when we talk about these low cost, low invasive procedures, yoga is one that we could definitely lean on because it's something where you are dictating the intensity level. Studies show yoga can reduce physical pain, and one study compared treatment options over a 12-week study, and weekly yoga classes, a stretching class, and a reading self-help book on chronic care management for low back pain. So those were the 3 different groups. The yoga and stretching groups both improved significantly during and after the trial and were able to move easier and work with any of the challenges that came up. So these challenges used to annoy them. Now they're able to kind of work through and work with them rather than being turned off and annoyed by them. So yoga lengthens and strengthens your muscles as we see here.
Yeah, girlfriend is amazing.
We got the balance there on one leg. We got the focus. And they're all engaging all of these things at one time. There was also a second study done at the Boston University School of Medicine where they monitored 2 groups, and it was for 12 weeks. One group walked for 60 minutes a day, 3 times a week, while the other spent the same amount of time doing yoga. The yoga group reported higher levels of anxiety and a greater improvement in mood. So as mood improves,
Yeah, well, that girl's down on one leg. That's just amazing.
yeah, that's a lot of balance there too.
No kidding.
A lot of balance.
She's not a small person.
A lot of strength. And I can tell you, being a 3-sport college athlete, that was the one thing I dreaded, was being able to stand on one foot. For some reason, when I would stretch, I'd kind of wobble. And so I always dreaded having to like stretch on one foot, one leg in front of the coaches. I was like, I can hoop, I just can't stand on one leg. So, you know, that's why I put that picture up there, because it takes strength.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But it also, you know, it makes you feel good when you try this and you do it within your body, and then you're able to hold and get to whatever intensity level you get to. Because it's not a competition, it's about alternative therapy. It's about healing, it's about wellness, it's about connecting mind and body. And so when you participate in these activities, we often feel better. And so it becomes a literal mind-body benefit. Here we have a quote by a psychologist at Boston University who says, yoga may work in part by correcting imbalances in the automatic nervous system caused by stress. So Nadine, I think you said it beautifully at the beginning of the call. If we give the body the opportunity to heal itself, it can. When we're out of the window of tolerance, we know it because we can feel it. Our nervous system gets hijacked. The body needs time to slow down and relax. And yoga provides the body with this sanctuary. And so yoga's advantages are a result of its overall calming influence and its ability to remove toxic stress from the body through moving it through the body. Just like we did the tapping movement, it's about moving that energy, just like with the acupuncture, getting that blood flow, getting those meridians going. It's about getting that movement going, because that movement builds inner and outer body strength. At the University of Virginia, there was a study where they thought yoga may be instrumental and key in improving glucose intolerance and insulin sensitivity, and all things that contribute to cardiovascular health. And what they found is that yoga actually encourages heart rate variability and thus reduces heart disease risk. So as heart health gets stronger, bone health gets stronger. It increases, which means our overall wellness gets better. And so really thinking back to that elephant, our bodies are one system. So it all goes together. And we've touched on this, we really have to be intentional. You know, we talked about the intention. We talked about bringing things and being open to different ways of being. And that's really because it's this intention that we have to show up with in order for any of these alternative therapies to really work. Kimball touched on this with the food, but here's just a quick little highlight. Things that you should be some of your go-tos: nuts, fish, grapes, apples, tomatoes. Tomatoes, there was a study at the University of Tel Aviv that found that men who added 30 milligrams of lycopene to their daily diet improved their ability to fight off asthma attacks. And so I just share that to say, like, even food has impacts on things like asthma attacks. It's not only outside environmental factors. And that's why these go-tos are key to have, little things that you can just grab and eat. Because stopping by a McDonald's or any other fast food place, restaurant, is exactly kind of what the doctor ordered. Especially now after I've read this alternative therapies definition. You know, send us to McDonald's, get us on your system. No, we're not accepting any alternative therapies on insurance. So that's just money in the bank right there. If we don't take a hold of our own health. So I asked folks to have a carrot or raisin next to you. Do folks have that? Got some water. Folks have raisins, some carrots, no munchies. All right, no worries. Well, I invite you all to mindfully have 3 bites of your next meal. And what that means is just the three first bites, 3 last bites. Try to bring an added intentional awareness to the sensations that you're feeling, to the colors that you're seeing. Try to bring that 15 things level of awareness to eating. The last thing is what you taste. So I'd invite you to do this while you're eating, actually. First 3 bites or the last 3 bites. Any questions on mindful eating? Hope you guys all do that. The medical community is now starting to consider the possibility that food is the best medicine. Blueberries contain antioxidants that fight cancer, and studies show that some compounds in blueberries can interrupt tumors' ability to grow new blood vessels. Ability to grow new blood vessels. I mean, that's going to be my new gummy bear, blueberries. I have a couple case studies here. I'll jump to this one because here locally, as we talk about food integration, here at Kaiser in San Francisco hands out recipes along with their prescriptions to their patients. So I thought that was really interesting. There's a new movement that's trying to happen around food that's calling or trying to recognize foods as doses or food as a dose, just like we think about prescriptions. And so this is Kaiser's way of putting one foot in the circle. You know what? Along with your prescription, we're going to give you some healthy recipes. And I thought that was really interesting. In 2010, Medicare reimbursed the first lifestyle-based program for treating heart disease based on decades of work by Dean Ornish, a heart expert at UCSF. So right here in San Francisco, we're doing some innovative stuff. But on the grander health institution side, Blue Shield Blue Cross began covering tailored meals from the nonprofit food program Community Servings for its members. So they're actually paying for food now and delivering it. This was a specific pilot for patients that had congestive heart failure and who are having a hard time managing their own meals and finding low fat and low sodium meals. So we see healthcare institutions actually putting their foot in the circle. But if we see that they're doing it, how much more do we need to do it for ourselves? It's great to have that support, but we also can be doing some of these things for ourselves. And you guys are. So with that being said, I want to everyone give yourself a pat on the back. In the being mindful and getting both sides, let's get the other side. Because you guys have showed up and you continue to show up. You all continue to show up. So thank you. Every month throughout all of our presenters. So thank you for showing up for your health, for this program, so that we could all help each other. Congress, moving on up the chain. They signed their first bipartisan food is medicine working group, or assigned, I should say. So they have folks looking at and reviewing literature, research to say, hey, food is medicine. It's not all about drugs. It's not all about pharmaceuticals. But the very thing that we're putting in our body every day could heal us. And so that's currently in the works. Here are some consequences, though. The average American spends $1,400 a year on medications. And if some people can't afford them, they just go without it. Oh, I can't afford it, so Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Kaiser's not doing much in my area, so I guess I don't matter. And that is not true. You do matter. You do matter. And that's why we are all here gathered today to share some of our challenges, some of our stories, some of our successes, so we can put that all together and help each other to thrive. As we see here at the bottom, the prevalence of obesity and increased every year. It's going up and up and up. We have more and more education. We're able to get education quicker, faster, on demand. We have the internet in our pockets. Yet for some reason, we're not finding the opportunities to educate ourselves, or we are not taking that step for ourselves. And again, we're coming back to that word intention. I'm not here to share and say that I have brand new, innovative, this just came out yesterday information, because I don't. You all have probably heard this information before, or some of it at least. And it's on all of us to hold us.
Well, I just want to say something.
Yeah, please.
I just want to say that, that statement there, the consequences, I can't support the part where it says, and if people cannot afford them, they choose to go without them. They have no choice. It's not even, how can they say that? They choose, they can't pay for it. So it's not like it's a choice. It's just, that's the situation. So I think that statement there is not quite right. It's just not, because if you can't afford them, it's not, you're not making the choice, a conscious choice to go without them. You can't pay for them, so you don't have any choice.
Yeah, thank you for that call out. Thank you. Yeah, any other comments? What do you think about this 1,400 number? Is it low? Is it high? Just right?
I think that's low.
Low?
I think that's low. I don't have a lot of prescription meds that I have to pay for, but I think that number is low, because that's like saying, a month on meds. And that is so, I'm sorry. I think that's far-fetched. They're spending more than $100 or a little over $100 a month on meds, or throughout the year. So I think 1,400 is low.
Does that take into account people of all ages?
I'll double check on that. That's a good question.
Because what she's saying, I agree with. But if this is also average between people who are really young, that could be why the number is a little bit lower.
Yeah, also, and some things are based on what type of coverage you have and what your plan will pay for as far as medication.
Yeah. Yeah. And the topic that we're talking about today, oftentimes these things will not be covered from alternative therapies. You know, we luckily, acupuncture was covered under the Affordable Care Act, but, you know, many other states it's not, or they're fighting to try and get the Affordable Care Act. So thank you all for those comments. And moving to our last piece, social health as well. And it takes a village to raise a child. There was a recent study in the journal of Plus One that the strength of a person's social circle, circle as measured by inbound and outbound cell phone activity was a better predictor of self-reported stress, happiness, and well-being from a fitness tracker or data on physical activity, heart rate, and sleep. What do you guys think about that? Inbound, outbound calls and cell activity, not calls, but just inbound, outbound cell activity as a better predictor of self-reported stress, happiness, and well-being as opposed to the watch that I may wear or the fitness trackers, physical activity, heart rate monitors.
I mean,
So meaning like the,
sorry, you go, Kimball.
okay. So meaning like it was measured based on how many calls they were making. That's how they were able to measure their health, or
Inbound, outbound cell activity.
so meaning like the healthier they were, the higher their activity, the less healthier they were, the lower the activity.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fascinating. That's super fascinating. Because I guess when you're in a better mood and you feel like strong, you're able to communicate to everybody versus a state where you're kind of weakened. You don't want to really talk to people and your cell activity would go significantly down.
Exactly. Exactly. So leaning on this social health as well, it's all about reaching out and understanding that it takes a village. And so asking for support, being there for those that need support, but being able to show up because we've implemented this short-term, mid-term, long-term wellness plan that includes alternative therapies and our traditional program and plan. And so why it is a better outcome, or why this research is saying that it's better, is because you can go run and you can be active and it can show that on your tracker. Meanwhile, you're isolating yourself, you're not talking to people, and you're not socially connected. And that isolation can be detrimental to, especially to someone who's dealing with a chronic condition, but even more so if you begin to isolate and try to take on more of that reactivity that you're trying to handle by yourself. So, you know, we're all here on this AEP cohort in this group because we understand that. We understand that we don't all have the answers, but we have experience that we can share with the group to give this greater group intelligence to be able to thrive and support greater communities. So this strong and healthy supportive system is something to lean on. So be kind and curious to yourself. Roll out the welcome mat to your own experience, because it does truly take a village. So here's our very first AEP session. Here's some of my village right here. And friends are your help. Spending time with friends is one of the best things that you can do for your health. Not saying you have to spend every second with them, not by any means, but spending time, keeping in touch, being support. You know, too often we focus on this physical side of health and well-being, when if we consider the qualified self, which is asking, who am I? What are my activities, my social network, and all the aspects that are reflected in any of these measurements. In social support, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Friends, family, partner. It's strongly associated with mental and physical well-being. And when you integrate mental and physical health, you have behavior. Mental and physical health dictate behavior. And so really it's about this unity, this connection, so that we can show up and be our best selves. Whether it's through food.
It's a great picture, Vic.
Yeah, it is a great picture.
It is, yeah.
You got to get a picture of this call, actually. That would be nice.
I'm not that short. Everybody's just really tall. Everybody's just really, really tall. That's what it is. What it is.
We're on boosters.
Yeah, right. They're all standing on something.
So as I briefly mentioned, without those social networks, it can lead to loneliness. Almost half of Americans reported being lonely in recent studies. I recently heard on a podcast that USC has a huge issue with students making friends over the last decade. University of Southern California, their students are reporting that it's hard to make friends on campus. So folks are lonely. Social media, more demands, high costs, no jobs. Inner skills are more than ever paramount for our well-being. Whether that you call the inner skill mindfulness and meditation, or knowledge is power in food and other alternative therapies, Tai Chi, Qigong, aromatherapy. But flexing that muscle, because it's needed more than ever. Absent of a village and no development of an inner tribe to develop these resources, it's difficult to motivate and make the necessary changes.
Right. That's true. That is for sure. That's why AA has one of the highest success rates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, and it's also, you come into a group every week, same time, the group, you're growing together, you're sharing together, and that's what we're creating right here. We're creating that same safe space for us to share, for us to be vulnerable, and for us to give us, these tidbits of intelligence that we've picked up from dealing with and having and living with sickle cell, and how we've, navigated it. And each of these ways that I've shared or brought up, or that you have also have shared, are little plugins to add to the greater puzzle that will only enhance our lives to allow us to show up the best that we can be. Because like my low back pain, like this sickle cell trait that I have, it's not going anywhere. Like this eczema, it's not going anywhere. So I can beat myself up. I can self-isolate and be, say, I don't want to be seen like this. I want to hide. I want to come out when everything's perfect, whatever perfect means. Or we can start to develop these inner skills of, Kimball's workshop. All the workshops that we've listened to and been a part of this entire year. So thank you, AEP, for being that social support, because this is what we need right now more than ever. Social isolation is linked to higher rates of chronic disease and mental health conditions that may even stunt cellular growth, promoting chronic inflammation and suppressing immunity. The detrimental health effects of being alone is linked to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I'll say that again. The detrimental health effects of being alone is likened to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's violence on yourself, being lonely, allowing yourself to sit in that loneliness. Reflection is one thing, meditation is one thing, but allowing yourself to sulk in the ego that's negative by yourself without reaching out for a village, that's self-destructive. As the American population matures, there are more and more senior age adults, which may create yet another public health epidemic. So we need everyone to step up and give their piece of the puzzle. Edward, Nadina, go ahead and pump that aromatherapy right quick. Yeah, we need it.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. And your lymphatic area of your senses can bring about many, many changes. I learned that in all of this training and I'm sure all of you have experienced it, but just never really been mindful about it. When you smell something, you think, oh, wow, that's good. Oh, we're getting ready to have this great meal. Barbecue, when they're barbecuing, all the smells and the aromas that they bring back memories, nostalgic memories, thoughts of love, kindness, having fun, enjoying, and I think that's what's moved me the most about essential oil is when I diffuse them and when I can smell them. When I walk into my house, it's like, it just it changes my whole demeanor. It really, really helps to level out that stress and anxiety that I feel, and with all that we have to deal with today. So I encourage all of you to seek me out and know that essential oils are very key and are good for your everyday life. Just smelling them, just you drop a few drops on your palm or on, it's really amazing. That sense that we have, and we don't pay a lot of attention to it, but he said 2 smells. Yeah, see, even in your 15 things, you got 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, but you only got 2 things in there that you can smell. And as far as I'm concerned, it should be like 3 or 4 things, because depending on your environment, mind you, because there's bad smells, your garbage smells, there's all those smells that you can encounter in your home, right? So it's really good to have all those Go ahead, Jason.
No, sorry. I think I was in and you were cutting off a little bit, so I didn't hear the.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It gets my connection. I've been those various aromas in your house, in your home, in your space. They could be in your office, in your basement, wherever you choose, but just being able to diffuse essential oils into the air makes all the difference in the world when you begin to inhale that. And it's just like when we're, all of that inhale, that exhale that you invite, when you start to breathe deep and you start to focus on that. So I encourage all of you to, like I said, if you have some interest and you want, like a little sample of something, of different things, I do have that and I can send that out to people. And it's interesting. We had some Chinese food the other day, and I got a fortune in the fortune cookie, and it said, that something that I've been working on, some sort of challenge or project, is about to come to fruition. And I think that it's time for me to, like you were saying, be more vocal and be more outward with, as I kept it, down and not down, but I haven't given respect. It's probably because I've allowed sickle cell to time, but I also recognize it's an easy addition to working with the SCD community, to 2 or 3 or 4 people. Actually, I think it's about 5 people that is living with sickle cell. And the responses that I've gotten has just been really amazing, and it's been awesome. And so now it's time for me, I'm really doing for the SCD community. So it's an easy incorporation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Please. And with that said, it takes a village and the tribe starts with you. So I guess it's your time to step up. Let us all know, throw it in the email after this for everyone to know more about it. This is a little bit more about me, and this is my organization, Village Tribe. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. Basically, like I shared, it takes a village to raise a child. But if you don't have those support systems around you, if you don't have that, those friends already set up that know how to support you, that can meet you where you're at, then the tribe really starts with you. It's about building up those inner skills so that you have the autonomy and feel empowered enough to go and ask for that help and lean on that shoulder that you need to lean on, because no one has to do it alone. As you see here on the call today, we're all here to help each other. We're all here to learn. We're all here asking questions. And I'm in the same boat as you. It's just my week this week, but I'm here to learn and to be a part of this community just as much as everyone else. Right. So it takes a village. The tribe starts with me. The tribe starts with you. But together, we're in this together.
Awesome. Good job, Jason. Appreciate it. That was an awesome presentation. Let's get a quick little round of applause for Jason. That was awesome. That was really good. I mean, the village is very crucial. So we got about 12 minutes left. If anybody's got questions for Jason or questions in general about any of these topics, or maybe suggestions for other alternative therapies, we'll take these 12 minutes to go over that. Personally, I'll start it off. Jason, I did have one question. Were there any other alternative therapies in terms of, like gardening, painting, or poetry writing, any type of those hobbies or skills, as people say, that could be an alternative source of therapy for people?
Definitely. All of those, actually, all of them are suitable. As I said at the beginning, alternative therapies are really about the addition and complementing. So anything that will help you feel better. Most of what we talked about today was really around how do we find that mental ease so that our body can just relax, so that we can feel that full body relaxation. Because there's a lot of stress that we're dealing with because of the chronic pain, because of the physical pain, but then also worrying about how our next steps are going to be. So with that, I would love all your ideas of, journaling, getting outside, doing physical activities, just as simple as walking outside with a friend, social distance during this time, but is more than enough, Whenever, that's also why I wanted us to keep our eyes open this week during some of the dedicated practices, because there's so much that we can get from keeping our eyes open, so much awareness, so much safety of understanding where we're at and where we're going to be. And so that's why I led with that, because you can be outside with your eyes open, noticing, going on a mindful walk or a mindful jog. I heard that, people get the runner's high before. So certainly that's a way to, I don't even know if you would call that an alternative therapy or if that's just running. But, at one point, if you were running, people probably were looking at you crazy. Like, what are you running for? You don't need to do that. Like, we're cavemen, we're just hanging out. But now, running is something that we do first thing when we get up. People are exercising. They're moving their bodies. And so the things that you described may not feel like they are routine or normal or habitual things, but certainly all of those things will be, and because we're going to practice them as a AEP and SCAA community, they are going to be normalized.
Nice.
But yeah, there's forest bathing, going out for a walk in the park. You don't even have to come for a walk in the park. It could just be, a nice space that is safe and comfortable. So journaling, just literally feeling the sun on your face. I invite folks to just stand outside for 2 minutes and just breathe and feel the sun.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that one more. Just to piggyback on that with the gardening, myself personally, we had like this, kind of crazy place in our front yard, all these random bushes and stuff was just looking wild. So I just took everything out and just planted like four, went to Home Depot, got some little bunches of flowers and just planted them. And they've grown like so much. And now everybody in my household is so happy to see it. But the thing that's changed the most for me is like I can see the energy that I put in, I can see those results like in real life, like it's something almost tangible. So for those of us, especially in this time when we're all, alone or by ourselves very often, and I notice like, well, first of all, I want to say this, Jason, your entire presentation, I think is dope. What you're doing is very, very important. And somewhere along the lines of something we touched on was kind of connected to confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes confidence, like a lot of us, we're kind of taught that it's this thing that comes from within. We're supposed to just always have it. But in my experience, sometimes confidence is built when you turn around and look at your results. And I think sometimes a lot of us, we put this big, it's got to be this big for me to feel confident. And I don't think that's really fair. Anytime you do something that's, the opposite of negative, it should build confidence. You got up this morning, you made your bed. Yeah, you might have been late to the Zoom, but you got on the Zoom. It's all positive momentum. So the thing with gardening is when I saw these flowers start to really grow and kind of take off, I'm like, damn, like it gave me a sense of accomplishment. Even though it was so small, I allowed it to fulfill me in some regard, if that makes sense. So
that's
right on. And another thing that you guys were kind of touching on is, yes, there's all these different things that you can find to use for therapy. And I think sometimes our society kind of teaches us that we have to make everything like a thing. Like, okay, if I want to walk now, it's got to be a thing. Or if I'm going to garden now, it's got to be a thing. And I think that just adds unnecessary pressure, right? And just, you know, for me, one thing that I've learned to help me find what my thing or quote unquote is just doing things that I'm interested in. If it's gardening, I'll try that. If it's painting, hey, I'll try it. I might not like it. Okay, cool. Try the next thing. And as you go through that, you can kind of check these things off. And I feel that the way to find your thing or your passion is to follow the things that interest you. And it's just kind of a matter of time. I think that's how a lot of people find, you know, their calling in life. And when you have something that drives you in the morning, it makes it so much easier to be positive, to eat healthy, you know, to do these things that are part of this holistic healing lifestyle. So if you know someone who's feeling a little bit lost, like they don't know their thing and they're feeling discouraged, I would just, you know, try to suggest to them to not put that pressure on themselves and to just try something different. You know, you don't have to try something new every single day, but make it a point to do it once a week. Hey, you know, it's Monday, I'm gonna try walking today. Okay, last week I didn't like that so much. I'm gonna get out a paper and just draw, you know? So yes, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I definitely want to allow others to ask some questions, and then I'll circle back with some other feedback, you know, before we get off the call.
Great, thank you.
Justin, that was good.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Anybody
Justin.
else
I really
got it?
appreciate that, and it's really good to see you again.
Good to see you as
Yes.
well.
We met at the Black Expo, and this gentleman is very, very knowledgeable. He's a very strong businessman, and we look forward to doing some work with him. So, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Miss Nina. It's mutual,
Good.
mutual.
Yeah.
Anything I can do to help, that's what I love to do.
That's good. I mean, just hearing you talk right now, Justin's already gotten me excited now that I know we're going to be working with you. So that's good.
Oh, cool.
It's always good to have fresh faces in there.
Yeah.
Anybody else
like
got
that.
any other comments, questions to make? It is. Okay, we got about 4 minutes left. Again, you can email us or email Jason any questions, anything that you have, observations you wanted to make, or just kind of give Jason a nice email saying great job on the presentation because he did a wonderful job today.
Yeah, for sure.
Nadine, is there anything else before we sign off here? We got about 4 minutes left.
If we can,
Nothing
I'll get
other
in there.
than just, I'm sorry. You want to say something, Justin? Go ahead.
Yeah. So just again, I love what you're doing, Jason, and I can imagine that sometimes you probably share this kind of information with people and they don't go forth and apply it right away. And for those who are on the call, hear some of these things, I wouldn't want you to feel bad if you don't go out and apply these things. I just want to add a little bit of perspective to that. Like in our society, they've been pushing fast food, vaccines, all these things for so long, right? So we're conditioned to seeing it. And the kind of approach Jason talking about for some of us might be new, some of us it might not be new, but I can almost guarantee that for almost all of us, it isn't as enforced as the other side is. And things I've noticed about in business, people usually don't buy from you the first time they see you. And that's okay. That's what I mean by that is the first time you see this kind of thing might not be the time that you apply it. It might take a couple of times. And it might be, you know, you hear Jason, and now you see an interview, and then now it comes on the radio. And then when it hits you on the radio, it all connects and you're ready to apply it. So I just want to say, Jason, man, keep going. You know, these things like that are what our people need, that's for sure. And just something I wanted to just maybe take with a grain of salt because I'm not in your position and I definitely cannot speak from your experience, but it's something that I've learned personally and it's helped me make a transformation. And I think would be powerful to incorporate if you choose to do so. But
yeah,
one thing that I've learned, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, please.
Okay, one thing that I've learned is I think a lot of that we do in a day-to-day isn't conscious. I think a lot of it is unconscious, right? Like you were speaking, being more intentional, being more present. I agree with that message. But for a lot of us, our day-to-day habits or day-to-day things that we do, they're habits, right? So we don't think about it. It's subconscious. And one thing that I've learned is to reprogram the subconscious mind. Like a lot of us, like when you're going through a tough time, I think subconsciously we believe that it's not going to get better. And we don't even think about it on a daily basis. Like, for example, Miss Nadina, she was talking about just thinking about good moments and positive things like that, help bring that good energy. And one thing I would challenge everybody to do on this call is to think about a moment in your life where you felt fulfilled or really proud, or maybe you got a really big accomplishment, whether it was in sports or in business or even with your family. And I would challenge you to think about that moment. And then I would also challenge you to think about how often you think about that day. And
Yeah.
for a lot of us, I'm pretty sure we don't think about it often at all. I know for me, I hadn't. And I just would want you to consider, if you think about that moment and really relive it, to do that more often, because it's going to put you at a better mental space. So just tapping in and speaking to the subconscious, I think is very important, because I mean, for me, it was eye-opening. And another thing, I'll send this to you. I followed you on Instagram, so I'll send this to you, but I'm reading this book right now. It's called The War of Art. And it talks about resistance and how it's such a big thing. And I hadn't even realized that I was kind of a victim of it. And basically what the book is talking about is anytime you're trying to make a positive change in your life or do something new, you kind of just feel this pressure to stay comfortable or to stay within things that you know. And I know a lot of us feel that, but I don't think we realize that it's actually a thing, that it's something that you can be conscious and be more aware of. So this book has helped me out. I'll drop it in the chat. Jason, I'll send it to you on Instagram, but that was my only thing. I'll say for sure, keep going. And then, maybe just consider addressing that subconscious, because for me, it was game changing when I realized it.
Great. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the love and all your suggestions and recommendations. I mean, you're hitting everything, square on the head. What I'm really hearing in your share is this attitude of curiosity and kindness. Like you were saying, whatever happens, like I tried it, I picked up whatever data intelligence I needed from it. If it's good, I'm rocking with it. If it's not, all right, next thing.
That's right.
And that's beautiful. That's the discussion we're having here today. That's really what we're discussing, and how do we tap into being able to do that?
Right. Well, where there's a will, there's a way. That's for sure.
Exactly. But there's also process, and that process is mindfulness, is alternative therapies, are the things that work for you and you
Right.
and you and you and you and you. That is what alternative therapy really means.
Right.
Amen.
It's thinking outside the box for yourself. Like, what's going to work best for you and what makes you feel better personally. Again, remember, the only person who can really treat yourself is yourself, because you know what's going on with you. So not every expert is going to know everything about you, and not every expert's going to be right. So just always have, as kind of Justin just mentioned, have that inner confidence in yourself, however you find it, and build it. But just know that you are right when it comes to your body, because you know how your body works, because you're you know.
Right.
So just
Yeah.
have that confidence in yourself.
You're not crazy, for sure.
Yeah. And I
Exactly.
just want to
Or not
reiterate
crazy.
a conversation me and Jason had earlier this week. And it's easy to look at the bad. That's what people look at first. It's automatic.
Right.
So, and me and him had this long conversation. It was really cool because it keeps reminding me that, stop looking at that first, even though it might be a negative situation, look at the positive side of that. There is one if you just take the time out and be a little more mindful about it, instead
Absolutely.
of focusing on, oh, wow, this is all messed up, this is bad,
Absolutely.
bad. Hey, that takes you off into another zone. But if you look at it the other way, to digest, and you can get yourself through. So yeah, you said some really key things, Justin, that resonate with me and the conversations that me and Jason had been having.
Right.
So I really appreciate that input, sir.
Yeah.
And
Thank
like
you
I
so
said,
much
I
for
think you're an outstanding
up.
young man. So yeah, this is good. But yeah, look forward to seeing you all again next month, and looking for our information. Check out our website. And just thank you, and everyone stay safe.
Yeah.
Awesome. So glad you watched the AEP session all the way through. I'm Mon Garcia, and I'm part of the Media Access Marketing Department for SCAA. We want to give a huge thank you to Jason for this illuminating talk about alternative therapies for the sickle cell community. Now, a few key takeaways for today's session. Self-healing. Manage your resources into wide strategies. It can either be long, medium, or short to promote human health and well-being. Second, the exercise that we're done today. Dedicating practice of 15 things of awareness. Tapping where you rub, press, or manipulate the tissues in your body. And finally, mindful eating, such as food that are emotionally comforting versus food that are nutritionally healthy. To watch more of our AEP sessions, click that subscribe button, and if you haven't yet, give it a like. Also, check out our website to learn more about our organization and events going on, as well as our bi-weekly newsletters. Let's make it happen in 2020. Let's change the perception.